What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar thus far, what's going on with the earnings that just came out, and what the news is saying about Tesla, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break things down, all this information, before I talk about some very important charts out there, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit $500 into the account, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon. Anyways, again, Tesla got this nice double bottom like formation. We were expecting this thing to push up to 205, and we just made our way up there exactly as predicted. And the question now is, can Tesla break the 4-hour 200 EMA at just under 205? If we break this, a bigger push could be coming to 207 and 209 than 212. We could be pushing to some very, very nice levels, and we could see a big break on Tesla. But if we fail to break this, another rejection could come very similar to what we got right over here. So we're going to be watching to see how well Tesla does, as this thing is showing a lot of life. I'll be watching to see if it could break. I'll be breaking down more details about this in just a minute. I want to remind everyone that for today, we just had the house price index report coming out. Things were quite close to expectations. House prices were a little bit below what the forecast was. And besides that, things are close to what we're expecting. We have Barr from the Fed giving a speech at 9:05, and then after that, we have more data at 10 a.m. We have the consumer confidence report and the Richmond Fed manufacturing index. Then at 10:30, we have the Dallas Fed services index and the Dallas Fed services revenues index all coming out. So watch for volatility at 10 and 10:30. We'll just have to see how it goes. But I just wanted to call out that overall, this data is going to cause a big move. So watch for volatility at this time at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For earnings, we had Norwegian Cruise Line, AutoZone, and Lowe's. I'm just going to talk about these just real quick. Norwegian Cruise Line ended up actually running, so they missed on EPS by 6 cents, but revenue was a beat. And when it comes to guidance, they actually had strong EPS. So that's the reason why, with good forecasts, this is still pushing despite missing on earnings. It's still bullish overall. Lowe's beat earnings estimates, but it's the opposite. As the sales have fallen, it actually saw revenue slide again for next year, so that's why it ended up dropping. EPS was a beat, revenue was a beat. You guys can see them right here, but their guidance was not the strongest. The sales fell $22 billion from a year ago, and they're expecting this trend to continue, which is why the share price has dropped. AutoZone had good earnings. You guys can see net sales were up 4.6%, good margins improvement, and EPS increased by about 17%, so not bad from AutoZone. Now let's talk about a couple more things before I break down Tesla. I just want to mention that we saw the S&P 500 and Dow retreat a little bit, but now we're going to be watching to see as they've held support. Can they get a little rebound, or are they going to just like pop and then fail? Retail earnings are also rolling out. Don't forget we have like Macy's and a few others coming out like TJ Maxx and Best Buy. There's also some news coming out that the Federal Trade Commission on Monday is suing to block a proposed merger between the grocery changes out there. Grocery chains, excuse me, guys, I apologize. Kruger and Albertsons. So we'll see what happens over there. They're basically saying that the scale would reduce the competition and result in high prices for shoppers. So we'll see what happens with that. We have the JP Morgan Chase CEO, Jamie Dimon, coming out. He's saying that he's not worried about the tie between Capital One and Discovery. That's very important because that's going to make it the biggest national credit line in the US. And we'll see how JP Morgan reacts to that, but he's okay with that. Bitcoin is also on a tear, as we saw the SEC approve the Bitcoin ETF, and that's why it's pumping the way it is. Good results so far. For Tesla, the Model Y secured the 2024 IIHS top safety pick. That's very, very good news for them. And that's actually helping Tesla to some extent this morning. It's a good award for Tesla. And BYD is considering Tesla a partner, as we're still seeing a lot of the hype from yesterday with the buyback potential news, not to mention the new model, which is still affecting the EVs. So for Tesla, we have a big test coming. We're going to be watching this important EMA over here. Can we break the 200 and then start soaring to higher levels? Sometimes what happens is when you have these like double tops, we might push here, come down a little bit, just consolidate just for like a minute or so, and we could just start pushing up higher. If we break 205, watch 207, 209, then 212. If we break down, watch 202.5, and then this previous resistance becoming support at 201.6, 200, and 198. I think this might reject a little bit to start pushing up higher. I'm going to be looking to see if we could break 205. If we break this level, a big push is going to be coming. Make sure you watch and see if we break the 200 EMA. If we break this, we're going to be pushing higher. The 4 hour is looking pretty strong. We could be looking for 212 on Tesla, even 215. But we got to break these high levels. We got to break resistance at 205 first and hold above it, and Tesla could push higher. So make sure you watch support and resistance. How about for SPY? SPY is trying to rebound, by the way, but when we watch to see how it reacts, so we have this resistance at this 507 area. If we reject off here, watch 505 as support. If we lose that, 503.5 is next, and then this 501 zone. Watch resistance at 507.5, 508.5, and then 510. Overall, you can see that we had this head and shoulder spies looking a little bit. It was showing weakness, but now it's trying to rebound. It's going to react to the big data coming in at 10 and 10:30. So see what it does. And I do want to note that it is possible it tries to pop a little bit more before it continues to sink. So watch and see if we kind of like get a rejection. Can we reach 507.5 or even 507 and then reject? Or are we going to just reject from here? That we'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget, we're also going to be gapping up for today. So we'll see how it goes, guys. I mean, I do think SPY has potential to push up a little bit more, but we'll have to see if we get a big rejection or not, because that's going to depend a lot on all this data that's coming out, the consumer confidence, and then we have the manufacturing numbers. So wait and see. Watch resistance at this 507 area. Do we push a little bit more into it and then get this big rejection or not? The data is going to affect it, so we'll have to wait and see. On the QQQ, this thing has been attempting to push back up again. This is showing some life as we have kind of like a double bottom like Tesla that's forming. We watch 438 as resistance. If we lose 438, if we break past this, watch 439.25, then 440. If we reject off this, we're going to be coming back down towards 437, 436 below that, 434, and then 432. So watch and see. We're kind of range bound. You guys can see it's been stuck between these levels, back and forth and back and forth. So we'll see if we get a rejection here or not. So watch and see if the data affects this. Look for a little pop and drop and see how it reacts to 438. I do think it could test this, even come a little higher into the low 438s at first and then come down. So watch and see if we end up making that move. I'll be very, very patient with this nonetheless. Now, Nvidia, it's looking a little bit weak. It's barely holding this 790 area. If we lose this, we could be sinking for 785 and 782 and 776. For resistance, make sure you watch the 790 zone, 795, 800, and 807. Overall, I do want to call out that, hold on a second, Nvidia is showing a little bit of weakness if you look at the 4 hour. So just be a little bit careful at 790. We'll have to see if we lose this or not. If we do lose this, there could be a bigger drop coming. If we hold this, it might just continue to consolidate, but just be careful. There's a risk of it coming down a little bit more, and this could slow things down. So just be a little careful with Nvidia. It's just kind of range bound right now. Might remain range bound and possibly slow down a little bit. But then whether we get a bigger slowdown or not depends on this 790 test. And then for Apple, we're looking kind of weak overall on Apple. You guys can see it's been downtrending. It was trying to make a bounce, so watch 181.36 as resistance, then 182. Watch support at 180 and see how well it holds. If we lose that, a bigger drop is coming to 178. So the trend is kind of bearish right now. Be a little bit careful. And we'll see how it reacts to all this data. We have the consumer confidence, manufacturing numbers, and etc. So we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, guys, Tesla is showing a lot of life. If we could break our 200 EMA on the 4 hour time frame, try to break this resistance right here, going to be looking for a big break towards 207, which is where our gap fill is. Not to mention 209 and then 212. So Tesla's looking bullish overall. Watch and see how it goes. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update. Take care and peace out.